So here we are, guys. We're gonna introduce our players, and spawning in the top left-hand side of the map, we have the blue Zerg. He is DRG.
And spawning here at the actually that nice little kind of throwback Brood War hatchery there he got. Anyhow, here at the bottom right corner of the map is the red Terran player from no team actually teamless at the moment. It is BYUN. So yeah, like you mentioned, BYUN been recently kind of dealing with that wrist injury. People gotta remember he just came back into the StarCraft 2 scene in September and has been playing so much events and tournaments, and I think it kind of caught up with him a little bit there. I hope that's not kind of the start of the downfall of BYUN, because he is such a great, amazing player, such a fun player to watch, and we'll love to see his career, go very, very long.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's given us just this year, like you said, he's given us great StarCraft, and I think a lot of his fans have definitely appreciated the return. And I think a lot of people are also rooting for him. It's a great comeback. I think it's one of the strongest comebacks that we've seen, like after military service from Korean players. And yeah, I mean, BYUN has always been kind of a showman. I mean, we will all remember like the Reaper control and probably drool over it for years to come. But anyway, here we go. We have both of the openers for these players. It's going really standard. DRG already with his hatch built up. And we are going to see some Reaper presence here on the map as well, just to do the rounds there and do the scouting. But up to this point, both of these players just opening pretty solidly at this point, just very standard, not going for any proxies or too aggressive session or any shenanigans. Probably just sizing each other up in this game number one.
Yeah, I mean, both these players oh, actually, nice catch here. Oh, just barely getting that block on that drone. That drone will turn its life temporarily into a simulator, but BYUN's gonna go ahead and direct that Reaper here to the natural, see if he can get any damage done. Oh, just get one drone there. Nice catch. Oh.
Yeah, this Reaper doing its thing. I mean, if you can get a unit with the Scouting Reaper, it's probably more than enough. And DRG is actually taking that third hatchery already. Meta ball boost is on the way as well. And yeah, so we're gonna see 1-1-1 opener from BYUN at this point.
Yeah, I expect that maybe he can pull out the 2-1-1 build at some point in the series. He's pretty good at the kind of the marine control. Now that is a kind of an older school build that you don't see a lot of Terran goes for anymore, but maybe we can see it as the series progresses. Also, we'll be interested to see BYUN kind of bring back that proxy barracks Reaper cheese here. But of course, in this game number one, looks like everything is pretty standard here. We should see a move out here pretty soon by BYUN with those Hellions. It's got even a Viking being produced, so gonna go ahead and use that to snipe out some Overlords.
Yeah, definitely want to have that Viking there, especially to push back some of the map presence that Zerg is naturally bound to take very early in the game with the Overlords. And right now, just BYUN trying to poke around, see if he can find a couple of misplaced drones. But at this point, just DRG controlling really nicely there with the Queens, doing really nice coverage between the natural and the third. So at this point, not finding many weak spots, but just the scouting is enough value for these units. I mean, as long as you don't lose them and you get the information, what more can you possibly want? But anyway, yeah, now we have the Viking there out on the map. So this is going to probably start to be kind of like the Terran looking for presence of his own. And we're going to see a Liberator as well, so there will be harassment coming.
Oh yeah, we definitely going to see some harassment. We see the armory about to be made, so there's going to be a Hellbat kind of mixed in with some Marauders. And actually going to go ahead and send the Liberators at the same time. Wow, this is a attack is commencing. So BYUN is going to go and put some pressure here. Let's see how DRG deals with this. He's got some Banelings being morphed in, a decent amount of Queens, and actually gets the Metabacks into really low life. But these Hellbats are putting so much output damage. And want to get on top of these Banelings. Oh, these Banelings get some nice connection. The Medevac does go down, but the rest of BYUN's force is pushing to the third base here.
This is a very interesting composition here, adding both the Viking and Marauders as well. So I think that definitely packed a punch against the Queens. But the snipe of the Medevac is key to hold off this attack. And I mean, that got done, so it's just a matter of time. Right now, DRG trying to hold the position as much as possible, trying to deal with speedlings, but actually losing a lot in the process. So yeah, kind of an iffy trade for both of these players. But I think in terms of economy, they're basically fine for the most part. We have 60 drones to 48 SCVs. So yeah, just BYUN trying to look for more damage with that Liberator, but there are quite a few anti-air units in static defense, so this is gonna get cleaned up. Really nice push there from BYUN, but also the defense from DRG, pretty commendable.
Yeah, as you can see in the unit slots tab and the lost resources, does favor the Zerg player, as he didn't really lose that much with all that was committed there. Like you said, losing that medevac was huge. It does really kind of lose steam and lose momentum once you lose your medevac. So DRG was able to kind of defend that with very minimal losses, and now he can just go ahead and take that fourth base and just macro like crazy.
Yeah, we do see another attempt building up by BYUN. We have a couple of Hellbats and Marines just going into the Zerg base. Let's see if he can do some additional damage for this. There are Queens there trying to stand ground, laying up the creep, but we do have quite a bit of units here, and these Banelings right now have speed already, so ooh, really nice surround that we're about to do, but not triggered just quite there yet. So yeah, I mean, BYUN trying to do what BYUN does best, just trying to capitalize on that sick micro that he has. But I mean, at this point, at least for now, just DRG being able to deal with everything that is thrown at him.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Viking I think went down earlier, so he's not able to clean up the overlords here on the left side. So DRG will have good vision of the drop, but in the meantime, BYUN's gonna go ahead and poke here into the third base. We'll get a couple of creep tumors, but really doesn't really get much done. In the meantime, another group of Bio Army Marines infantry units here attacking at the fourth base, but once again, does not get much damage done.
Yeah, here he manages to find a nice spot there, but Baneling connects, so he has to go back and retrieve these units. Another attempt of a drop there towards the third base location, but just not getting much done at this point. But I think at least for now it has kept the Zerg on his side of the map. So BYUN actually trying to go up for a fourth command center, which is going to try to secure there for himself. And I mean, this push is not over. He is trying to move forward towards the bottom hand side of the map, but there is a huge Zergling run by coming from DRG. So let's see if actually BYUN manages to deal with everything at once. So nice connections there with the Widow Mines, but there's quite a few Zerglings already in the mineral line. So we'll see how well this does. But I mean, BYUN right now reacting pretty nicely there, prioritizing the integrity of the space. So at this point, just defending pretty well as well, not taking significant losses against that run by, which is pretty good. That's kind of the spot where you want to be at this point.
Yeah, we've seen so many games, games where the Terran player lets the Zergling counterattack kind of do way too much damage than necessary. But BYUN is definitely on top of it. He is going to go ahead and drop into the main base with a medevac full of Marines. We'll get cleaned up fairly easily, but there are still two more attacks coming here out of BYUN. BYUN is just relentless.
Yeah, he's not allowing DRG to breathe at this point. He knows that that could be probably the biggest mistake. And here we go. He's actually pressuring that fifth hatchery, not allowing it to go down, actually forcing a cancel there. And just BYUN trying to be as present as possible. Like, he knows that if he allows DRG to cross the map with the creep, he'll eventually have him just knocking out his front door, and that's not something that he wants. He wants to secure that fort base location before anything else happens. And I mean, there's drops just coming in left and right. Now the Hydras could probably clean up a little bit of this, but I mean, there's quite a few medevacs at this point supporting that army. There's basically almost one medevac for every 2 Marines there. And here's another drop as well coming into the natural base. Ooh, and the more Bailings might have been caught off guard there, but nice spread there by DRG, just trying to intercept these forces, allowing his Bailings to complete. So at this point, once again, fending off the attacks pretty nicely, but now BYUN is about to secure that fort base location. He also has some reinforcements coming in, and now he's actually DRG able to clean up those Widow Mines. Definitely wouldn't have wanted to keep those alive for much longer. And we are going to have another drop once again coming in from the top, and more pressure just coming in from the bottom hand side of the map.
Yeah, this pressure has definitely kind of kept the creep at bay. So, you know, BYUN is able to kind of go ahead and continue these drops, knowing that the creep won't be able to spot these drops. But DRG does spread his units pretty well. Got a group here at the left side as well as the right side in anticipation and in preparation for these drops. The right side does get spotted, so DRG responding to that very, very quickly. But the left side, though, will make its way into the main base.
Yeah, this is a big drop here for almost fully loaded medevacs. Just attacking the main base. This is not a place where you want to be. He actually cancels the Bailings there, and just moving forward with a push as well through the middle of the map. But BYUN needs to get out of here, and he actually manages to save 3 almost full medevacs. So that's pretty nice here. He can still go around, do some damage later on. So really nice spot here for BYUN. But I mean, in terms of army supply, it's kind of like starting to go in favor of the Terran. I think this attack has been very effective. We do have a Widow Mine there, nice connection, almost killing the Queen. So yeah, I mean, BYUN just being all over the place. He's actually also moving forward from the right-hand side of the map and up to the top. I mean, that drop is also pretty healthy as well. It could still do quite a bit of damage, and we are going to see a coordinated assault coming soon for BYUN. We do have Vipers, however, on the way, so that's probably going to pull off some abductions against the medevacs. So that can complicate things, but I mean, BYUN right now doing just a pretty decent job at just controlling the game.
Yeah, he is going to go ahead and attack this 12 o'clock base, and he wants to attack very soon because the lurker numbers are increasing very, very fast here. So he wants to attack before the numbers get doesn't get too crazy for these lurkers. And but some nice splitting will get some decent Bailings, but these just there's no units left here for BYUN. Yeah,
there we go, nice up there.
Yeah.
Ooh, with the tank. Oh, but there's another drop also in the main base just coming in. There's also an attack coming from the bottom hand side, and just BYUN controlling this pretty nicely there. Even taking a Queen now. He's gonna get cleaned up over here. He's probably gonna have to pick up. But I mean, these attacks, this posturing is just getting a little bit insane for DRG to deal with.
Yeah, BYUN knows that he can't really kind of park all the lurkers everywhere. Usually, you know, Zerg players will kind of group up a bunch of lurkers together. So BYUN taking advantage of that, trying to use the advantage of his mobility with these bio units. But at some point, he's definitely going to need something to deal with these lurkers. Yeah,
right now the tanks are being positioned there, and the lurkers do have their upgrades, so they're tunneling pretty fast there. And the spread for BYUN is really nice here, but there's quite a bit of Zerg to deal with still. There's no detection against the lurkers now, so now DRG can push forward, and I think this push could be quite significant at this point. There's a couple of bases there that DRG could choose to attack, but at least for now he's going to hold this position and probably deter the Terran from moving forward, which he hasn't been able to do in the past couple of minutes. But right now, I think DRG is in a nice spot. I mean, despite the fact that he's sustained significant losses left and right, he's still being able to hold his ground and just to secure his bases. He hasn't lost a hatchery to this. So still a very nice position for the Zerg, and now preparing to pounce himself.
Yeah. By the way, Mr. Fritcho, hopefully I didn't butcher your name in the chat. Says great game, great cast. Definitely appreciate your kind comments. We do definitely have a great game here as we head into the 15-minute mark, and looks like a DRG is gonna go make his way into this right side base. Lurkers just demolishing all these supply depots and buildings here. And I'm not sure if BYUN can stop this. It's looking quite dire here for our red Terran.
Yeah, this is a very tight position. I mean, the Lurkers have been a really key unit in this attack, and actually, DRG just finding an opening here. There was no sensor tower at the top. So yeah, I mean, BYUN did not spot the rotation, and that definitely paid off for DRG. But now he has to deal with the counter, which could also be very scary. There is a conga line of reinforcements just retreating and trying to go back to that base, trying to defend that. And I mean, he has done such a great job with the Lurkers. I think if the position with the Lurkers is controlled nicely, I think this wouldn't be a problem. Oh, and the blinding clouds are also going to help as well. There are quite a few banelings rolling in, but he actually, again, just managing to target fire that like it's absolutely nothing.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, those banelings just not being able to connect quite right. And I mean, he is going to have to, give up this position. There's quite a bit of Zerg still. But yeah, I mean, just the control of BYUN is so amazing to watch.
Yeah. Oh, DRG kind of walking his Lurkers into a Congo line there. Will lose it for free, absolutely for nothing. And now BYUN all of a sudden enjoying the overall supply lead, as well as the almost a dirty army supply lead. That has a lot to do with, I think, with the 3-3 upgrade that he has over the 2-2 upgrades of the Zerg. So it has definitely bolstered that infantry and battle units, and has been taking some really great engagements in the past few minutes.
Yeah, now he has Ghost, so that's definitely gonna help, at least to keep the Vipers at bay from just abducting the tanks. But this, once again, this location just being kind of the weak spot right now for BYUN. But I mean, there's still the chance that there could be a surround of sorts. But I think what DRG is most concerned about right now is probably the counterattack potential that BYUN has. And I mean, with these ghosts just sniping so many units.
Pew 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 pew.
All the pew pews of death.
Yeah. And like you said, he knows that there's going to be a weak side here onto the left side. So BYUN sending a group of army here will get the cancel once again. Bases are running a little bit low here for our Zerg. He's trying to expand, but BYUN is just getting on top of it once again, time after time. And so it's making it really hard for DRG to kind of transition to the late game, because right now he doesn't have quite a good bank. He's pretty much run out of minerals. He does have a 500 gas banked, or 600, so that's not a lot in this stage of the game. So BYUN just got to play it out, play the long game, and he should be fine, but we shall see.
Yeah, he's actually preparing a drop on the right-hand side, so that could also be an interesting thing, just opening more avenues of attack, bypassing that those forces that DRG has been kind of like holding against the third base. So we'll see right now. DRG actually trying to go for a rotation here, but there was a spotter marine there, so this could be easily sniped here by BYUN. But it's kind of an awkward position to engage in. There's a couple of choke points to walk through, and I mean, BYUN just wants to get those snipes on the Lurkers. The Lurkers right now have enough range to just keep them at bay, but I think it's the retreat. The retreat that BYUN would definitely be looking forward to intercepting. And here we go. We see quite a bit of workers there falling on the top base location, and this hatchery is definitely going to go down. There's not much to do here. But I mean, BYUN is a little bit kind of tucked into his bases as well. He doesn't want to move forward too far away. This drop is cleaned up really nicely here. Really nice pickup there by DRG. Just not allowing BYUN to save this drop. And once again, trying to go for the snipes there. But he doesn't want to overcommit these ghosts. These ghosts are definitely a key unit here for BYUN. And yeah, I mean, the range is just making it so hard.
Does EMP Hydralisk, but the problem is the Hydralisk doesn't have any energy, so it doesn't really make a dent in these Hydralisks. I think he would probably want to save those energy for those snipes on those Lurkers. I think that would have been more smarter, but At this point, BYUN holding steady, still got a decent supply lead, but the definitely the worker supply is in favor of DRG, so it's definitely not over for anyone yet. This is anyone's game still as we head into the 20-minute and 30-second mark.
Yeah, BYUN pushing back finally, DRG, so I think this could be an interesting opportunity for the Terran to also expand to the top of the map. But I think at this point he's preparing a stronger flank towards the top and probably also trying to push the bottom location. So just BYUN once again being all over the place, and this push could be very interesting. There are already lurkers in place, so this is doing a decent amount of damage, but the spread of units is also very nice. They're just not allowing the lurkers to maximize the positional damage. And yeah, I mean, at least clearing up these forces. But DRG also with a really nice defense. I mean, if he's able to hold these hatcheries and just mine from them, he will be in a good spot.
Yeah, we are in this point of the game where I guess expanding and kind of get the economy rolling is really crucial. The problem is that both players keep attacking, being so aggressive. And by the way, look at the creep spread. It is not even halfway across the map. I think that is a little bit concerning here for DRG. That makes, you know, kind of the attack path of BYUN a bit more accessible. And right now he is going to go ahead and put on some pressure here onto the top right side of the base. And DRG will definitely want to save that base, because it's really, I think the only base, really true mining base left is the one at the left side. And he is going to actually give it up.
Yeah, I mean, after those snipes with the ghosts, you're like, well, time to go. The lurker's going down pretty fast, and I mean, BYUN is probably toying with the idea of going for the bottom flank again, but I think the top right-hand side of the map is working really nice for them. I mean, he is trying to force once again an overextension from the Zerg, and he actually might be able to do it at some point. But now he's gathering his forces at the center, so he knows that there's a counterattack coming in. And this is going to be important for DRG. I mean, if this works for the Zerg, it could work wonders, but I mean, the siege line right now that BYUN has created, that would be not the best point to engage in. And now the retreat, once again, just trying to snipe those lurkers. Really disciplined there by BYUN, just knowing exactly when to actually pursue them and to just hold the position and not allow the Zerg to move forward.
Yeah, alright, looks like DRG has found a little bit of an opening here. The siege giants are actually in the bottom side, so it doesn't really fully cover the base there. So he will, DRG will be able to clean up the majority, but there are still, oh man, it's going to be close actually. I'm not even sure who is going to end up winning this battle, but the lurkers are still standing. There's still actually, oh wait, actually, no one, never mind. The supply dropped heavily here for the Zerg, and BYUN takes an insane game number 1 of this best of 5 series. Wow.
Yeah, I want to use ghosts like that.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
Don't we all? Yeah, that was fire from BYUN.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, just a great game, just setting the pace every step of the way, and I mean, honestly, just not dropping the ball. I mean, we had kind of like a little bit of a scare in the third base location. Right there at the top a couple of times, the Zerg actually setting a nice footing there, but at the end of the day, BYUN just being able to push back.
Yeah, thank you Kayuri and Neo for casting fire on the channel. Definitely a fire game number 1 there, and we're gonna go ahead into game number 2 here on Oxide LE. If game 1 was any indication of how this series is gonna go, I think we're in for a treat.
Yeah, definitely a series that we expected to be exactly like this. A little bit all over the place, but also just with a lot of action going on. And I mean, DRG, like what could DRG do in game number 2? Kind of like to switch this up, because I think the problem is that from very early on, he lost control of the game. So he was kind of like in a reactive stance for the most part, where he was just waiting for BYUN to throw more stuff at him. But yeah, how can he regain control of this? That's the big question.
Yeah, because if you do recall, in the early game, we did see. Oh wait, let me go ahead and
correct the scoreboard. 1-0 for BYUN. There we go. As we actually, you know, I'm just going to talk about it after we introduce our players.
Yeah, here we go, guys. We have him spawning in the bottom left-hand side of the map. He is the blue Zerg, DRG.
And spawning here at the top right side, he's the red Terran player with an impressive Game 1 win. Can he extend the streak to 2? It is BYUN. So I was saying the last game, you know, you have to recall that the DRG actually held the Hellbat Marauder push with relatively little loss, but the problem is because of the pressure, he had to cut the drone production, so he was kind of not as ahead in the worker count as much as he wanted to. And that's one of the good things about being an aggressive player, is that if you play against Zerg, if you keep on constantly pressuring the Zerg, it kind of really messes up with their drone production, as those larvas need to be dedicated into army supply instead. So yeah, I think the constant pressure and aggression of BYUN really got to him.
Yeah, definitely was something that I mean the thing is, it's tricky because after that hold, he was probably in a great spot, like feeling good about himself. You know what? I held this push. It was a strong push, but he was actually able to fend it off. But then after that, it was just attack after attack after attack. And I think like at any point, like was DRG actually able to restabilize, just because of the amount of losses that he was sustaining. And I mean, the thing is that one thing is what you plan to produce, and one thing, the very different one is what you have to produce because you just lost it. So I think that, like, that just putting you in a very reactive mindset from the get-go can really get to you. Can really mess with your game plan.
Yeah, I mean, this game in general really kind of tend to favor players that are a bit more aggressive, those that like to harass, those that like to be the one to be on the offensive. So BYUN definitely one of those players. DRG I think can be both, but just didn't quite defend all in all in the last game there.
Yeah, we have the openers for both of these players. Very similar situation to what we saw in game number 1. So let's see how DRG adapts in this second match. And it's gonna be an interesting thing to look at, because I think BYUN has a very set play style, and he's probably gonna try to do very similar thing from game number 1. So it's kind of like putting once again the ball on DRG's court, where he has to kind of adapt to this and probably take some measures, especially after the first push, to just go ahead and try to do something. And we're actually going to see Banshee production from BYUN. So that's going to add an interesting variation to that first push that he's preparing for. We have also Marine production as well. So we're going to see kind of a similar situation, the way that we're going to have some air units with some ground forces as well for support. But yeah, I mean, already BYUN taking a slightly different approach to this.
Yeah, so you're gonna go ahead and change it up. Let's see how much these Banshees can do. I'm not sure if this is the greatest map for Banshees, but you can definitely, I mean, Banshee is one of those units that even if the Zerg does scout it, somehow, some way, it just manages to find the damage somewhere. It's kind of like Oracles, you know, against Zerg. It's like, yeah, you can scout the Stargate, see the Oracle coming, and they even throw down the Spore Callers and maybe park the Queen, but somehow, some way, Oracles just snipe out like 1 or 2 of your drones, and to still, you know, stay alive. But so far, pretty much DRG is in the dark, right? Let's see his vision. Yeah, he's pretty much in the dark. He doesn't actually quite know what BYUN is going for, so he's gonna go ahead and probably want to throw down some blind Spore Callers, which he just started.
Yeah, now the Banshee is getting there to the base, and it's already got Cloak, so yeah, it's gonna be a little bit uncomfortable for DRG, and he was actually trying to micro those workers. They kind of like gave up a little bit in the middle, but I mean, the Queens are there, the Spore is about to pop out, but BYUN might have just gone out of there at the right time, and this push is the one that is important here. The Hellbats are already morphing in. we do have some Zerglings here, but I mean, this could be rough for Zerglings. He's definitely gonna need those queens to support, and this opportunity BYUN takes to actually go ahead and do a little bit more damage as well. He is going with the Banshee there behind the queen, so this could help as well. But I mean, he's running out of Hellbats, so this could also put him in a difficult situation. They're just running headfirst into those queens. But yeah, just oh my god, 20 workers.
Oh man, that
Banshee, yeah.
give the Medal of Honor to this Banshee. Jesus Christ, 21 kills on that one.
Yeah, just insane. I mean, like you said, it's not a matter of can it do damage or not. It's how much you will allow it to do, and this was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and it even got out, so it could even possibly go back in and try to get some damage done. Queen will push it away, but there are 2 more Cloak of Banshees here at the bottom or right side, looking to get some additional juicy drones.
Yeah, we have more failing production on the way for DRG. Definitely going to be looking to do a little bit of damage of his own as well. BYUN does have the intention of taking that 3rd orbital really soon. And yeah, I mean, once again, just setting the pace of the game. DRG, kind of with a timer on his head at this point, he does need to do some damage, but he needs to secure bases as well. So it's kind of like a sort of mixed feelings at this point. Like, should I go and try to attack, or should I just secure my bases and try to avoid any extra damage? But at this point, I mean, BYUN doing fairly well. Controlling the situation here, actually maybe even forcing a cancel there on the 4th base location. Attempting to go for a run by as well, but BYUN spots it pretty nicely here. Oh, but that queen, yeah, just blew on it and got wrecked with that Banshee. But anyway, I mean, it already kind of like paid its probably like 3 times its weight in drones, yeah. So yeah, there's no problem here.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But you know what? These Banshees, they're gonna probably redeem their brother, get revenge for their brother Banshee, as they're gonna go ahead and possibly snipe this. Yep, cancels the hatchery. As the BYUN does go for a push here on the right side. I think it's just more to clean up the creep tumor than anything. There's just too much Lings and Banelings here to get any additional damage done.
Yeah, he actually got that cancel on the 4th, and just the amount of creep tumors that he killed in that push. And I think this is something that BYUN has done fairly well, and that we actually saw in the last game. That he just maintained the creep threat from DRG very shy, tucked in on the other side of the map. So yeah, once again, BYUN just with great micro here, trying to even take that queen. Not quite getting it, but still just pressuring that 4th location. That means that the queens can't be elsewhere.
Oh man, DRG trying to transition into these mealers, but the push is knocking on his front door. This is the worst time to go for a mealers, as mealers is just not that good against the Marines. And I mean, DRG trying to morph in some Balin, so if he can maybe possibly clean up the rest of the Marines, he can get on top of the tanks and the medevacs. But he is fighting off of creep there, and DRG just doesn't have enough. GG, BYUN takes the 2-0 lead.
I don't know. DRG is probably like scratching his head now and like, okay, game number 3. What are we gonna try this time? But yeah, it does look once again like an uphill battle for the Zerg. Yeah, I mean, just beyond so much pressure. I think that Banshee, just a 21 worker loss at the beginning. I mean, that's like a base and a third worth of saturations. Definitely not a place where you want to be that early on in the game.
Yeah, that's like giving someone a 5-mile head start there in the marathon. But BYUN just relentless and was able to find so much damage in the early game. DRG is going to definitely have to find a way to come back, as he is down 0-2, so he is pretty much has his back against the wall. He needs to win 3 straight, and that is a tall order against somebody of the caliber of BYUN.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a possibility of him taking a map. but I don't know if taking 3 games is even possible at this point. I mean, there have been upsets in the past, and a 3-game streak is pretty much doable at this level. But I think BYUN just has shown a mastery of the matchup itself. So yeah, definitely a tough one for DRG. It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, BYUN is definitely has historically been pretty good in TVZ, and looks like he's potentially going to close it out here in this game number 3.
And here we go, guys. Spawning in the bottom right-hand side of the map, we have the Blue Zerg player. He is DRG.
And spawning here at the top left corner of the map, he is 1 game away from clinching the series. Can he do it? Give it up for BYUN. So, you know, these 2 players, of course, has a bit of history. They go back way back into at least the heart of the Swarm days. I think that's where they really kind of made their name. But I gotta say, both these players has really impressed me in the way they came back from the military, because it's not easy to come back from that long of a hiatus, not play the game for that long, and then come back and start competing at the pro level and start competing really well at the pro level. I mean, DRG, of course, has made a couple of really high finishes in the GSL Code S the past few seasons. I think he's got like 2 semifinals finish and like 1 quarterfinal finish or something like that. BYUN, on the other hand, he's come back very recently and has already won the Aces ROG tournament, which is pretty impressive. That tournament has so many great high level players, a lot of legends in their own right. And yeah, definitely these 2 players has done such a great job returning back into the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've seen a lot of players just coming back from military service and then probably just dropping StarCraft altogether, just not returning to the former glory. So it is going to be, I think 2021 is going to be an interesting year for these great comebacks that we've had. I think it could be an interesting year for BYUN as well, especially just getting into the pro circuit, which is going to be probably what a lot of people are looking forward to seeing from BYUN. So I think he's already setting a really nice overture for that. And yeah, so here we have once again a very pesky Reaper scout from BYUN, probably taking 1 unit or 2 here. Got potential for that.
Yeah, but some really great mic out there. Microing back the injuredlings will save all 4 of them. Queen will pop out and does start attacking the Overlord. He's like, get out of the way, I want to chase after the Reaper. Oh, what do we have here? We have a really quick early dirt coming out of BYUN. I like this.
What year is this?
You know, this.
Yeah, he's actually gonna go for 2-1-1, which is interesting.
Ah.
Well.
It's not quite a straight up 2-1-1, but a little bit delayed there. But yeah, I like this decision to go for a quicker third, just because this map, it has a really, it's really easy to kind of get those first initial 3 bases. I mean, once it gets to the 4th base, then it gets a bit trickier. There's like 3 potential 4ths that both players can get, but the first 3 bases are fairly easy to get.
Yeah, just a really safe spot there. And BYUN once again trying to go for that scouting. He actually manages to spot the extra gases, so he does know what's going on here. There is a fast layer on 2 bases coming up for the Zurich. So yeah, I mean, the read from BYUN here is just so good, and I think this opening is going to make things really interesting. And I think that it's actually BYUN who has been just mixing it up with every game. And I think for a player of his caliber and his style in particular as well, I think it suits them. Just switching it up and not allowing to become predictable to the opponent.
Yeah, we do see the banelings being dropped down here. I'm really quite wondering why. What's this fast layer for? Oh, actually going to be plowing down the spire there. Oh, as I should have noticed, there's the dirt and 4th gas. So definitely going for a two base Mutalisk. Of course, it's not all in two base, but you know there is a third base follow up behind it. But yeah, looks like BYUN will be contending against a few Mutalisks here in the early game.
We have some Hellion movement as well from BYUN, possibly preparing for just to have some map control as well, maybe down the line going for some run bys. But right now, just keeping tabs of the scouts there outside of his base, and DRG is actually going to go and pressure this third base location, which I really like from him. This could probably force BYUN to come back and deal with this, and he actually does it right now, returning with the Hellion. So at this point, I think DRG has realized that he can't allow BYUN to just go and camp out outside of his base. So I like what DRG is doing right now, and possibly that Spire is going to help as well to have a little bit more mobility, which I think the Zerg has lacked throughout this series. And he's trying to take that back, but we do have some movement here from BYUN. He's actually bringing two medevacs almost fully loaded there, so there's going to be a push on the way. Definitely trying to hit some sort of window, but I mean the Mutalisks are almost here, so the Zerg is also going to be in a very interesting spot at this point. We have the armor supply, which is in favor of the Terran at this point, so this could still be a devastating blow there. You're now losing a queen, and this mineral line is very much exposed.
Oh no!
Oh man!
Poor drones there.
So many drones dying.
Yeah, that is quite unfortunate there. Really great timing by BYUN.
Yeah, that was sick. I mean, the Banelings were definitely the only deterrent for this. Probably BYUN could have been able to micro a lot of those units fairly easily. Now trying to catch those reinforcements now, and actually sniping one of the medevacs is pretty good. He's actually going to be able to clean up this drop in its entirety. But I mean, the amount of workers that were lost there, man, definitely grim.
Yeah, looks like a total of 19 workers has gone down so far in this game. Now it is up to DRG to get some counterattack damage with these Mutalisks. Unfortunately, though, BYUN has already had some turrets up placed in his bases, got some marine production as well. So DRG is going to have to find some openings somehow to kind of pay off or kind of get even back up the work. Oh man, losing these Mutalisks, that's not great.
Oh, the giveaways. Yeah, just not finding a weak spot on BYUN. I think the spread there with Marines just so good, just covering all of his bases. And I mean, there's more Mutalisks coming in. There's +2 already on the way for them. Yeah, just not finding the damage that he needs. I mean, this is an interesting delay here for the supply depots, but still, he needs to get the workers.
Alright, looks like he's kind of getting a few hits here and there, just not a lot of damage though. Oh, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and get on top of this these Marines, as there are few in numbers, but that's because the main army here is pushing out here through the middle by BYUN, clearing up the creep tumor. And let's see how much damage that BYUN can find.
Yeah, just once again being so diligent with the creep. Not allowing it to spread too much. And I mean, this cleanup is hard because of this choke point here. That BYUN really nicely blocked there with the tanks. And now, I mean, he can forfeit this position. He knows he doesn't need it anymore. But he's actually trying to rotate towards the bottom hand side of the map, which poses way more interesting avenues of attack there. Maybe taking control of the high ground could be interesting here. But I mean, in terms of army supply at this point, it's pretty even like 10 points in favor of the Terran. And now that was a really nice round there by DRG, who's actually going to be able to clean most of this up. So that's probably the opportunity that the Zerg needed to look for it. And BYUN, yeah, with a little bit of a mistake there.
Yeah, for sure. Some nice maneuvering from DRG will push the Terran back, and now he is the one on the offense. And oh, these SCVs! Oh no!
Oh no.
Oh, the pain and losing the command center as well.
Yeah, we said poor drones in the earlier game. Now it was poor SCVs here in the mid game, and now DRG has a firm hold on this game. I mean, it's still pretty even though in the army supply, so I wouldn't say, you know, it's definitely over for BYUN. BYUN has definitely options to get back into the lead, but DRG. Oh, actually, that nice store hit. DRG definitely did a good job, kind of making up for the lost drones in the early game.
Yeah, and once again, BYUN trying to push this location. There are quite a few units there, so he has to be very careful with the retreat as well. And he doesn't want to be caught in the same position that he did last time that he tried this. But there we go, we have some Widowmine support, so that's definitely going to help give this a little bit more power, especially protect the army's retreat, which is very important at this point. And there it goes, sniped there from the Overlord, and DRG slightly supply blocked at this point, which is always very convenient for the Terran. And I think this calls for a rotation on BYUN's side. He's actually going to go and look for a different angle, but now there's quite a sizable flock of mutas here attacking the natural base. So this is something that definitely BYUN can leave unattended. He does have a couple of Widow Mines there, but this will probably give him enough time to actually even like force a hatchery cancel, maybe intercept some workers, or just go for a strong push here. And oh, those Widow Mines did way more damage to the SUVs than they probably should or expected. But this attack from DRG is actually starting to look pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean, he has pretty much rendered the natural base useless there, getting 23 workers as well, and BYUN not really able to push on forward to the natural of the DRG himself. And now these Mutalisks just continuously doing significant damage on the economy line, now getting on top of the production building.
Yeah, this is an awkward spot for BYUN at this point. I think the attack, especially the attack in the middle of the map, is losing quite a bit of steam here. And we could see a really nice surround by BYUN. He actually surrounds the entirety of the army forces. A pick up there from BYUN, but now the Mutas are in pursuit of these forces and actually sniped one of the medevacs. So this is a nice position for DRG. Definitely that those SUVs outside of the third base were kind of a game changer. They put him back on the map here in this game, and this counterattack will also do quite a bit of damage. He's probably gunning for the third base location at this point. He knows there's an opening there, but he's also going to try to use the Mutas there to kind of break apart the forces of BYUN. BYUN just repositioning those Thors, making sure he doesn't leave any open spaces.
There we go. Looks like the Zerg is ready to pounce on to this third base here. And the Bailing's actually rolling in not quite far enough. Only get 4 SCVs, and it's going to have to retreat the rest of his ground army. But these Mutalisks are high in number enough so that he can just fly over to the main base, get some additional damage done. And right now, BYUN is kind of down on terms of the economy, as he is forced down to 42 workers. Oh, this is a nice catch though.
Yeah, really, really nice. DRG has been respecting the Thors a lot. Like even the Thor in the main base kind of didn't look like a big deal, but he's been very careful not to walk above these. And now we have a counter attack from BYUN, and this could also be very scary for DRG. Now that BYUN has secured the anti-air defense, I think he feels bold enough to actually attack into this. And I mean, his micro has been insane, just target firing the Bailings, not allowing them to connect properly. And this could be bad for DRG. He is going for a swing here with the Mutalisks, and this could help clean things up. But there's a lot of Terran just streaming forward. 115 supply to 82 at this point, and the Zerg is once again getting dismantled. I mean, it looked great for DRG, but there were a couple of key mistakes there in engagements, and now he has once again BYUN just knocking at the front door real hard.
Yeah, we're in that classic scenario where one player is like ahead massively in workers, but the other player is actually ahead in army massively, and BYUN He has taken down another base, so what use is it for those 70 workers if they can't really mine, right? So right now, BYUN just gotta be careful not to lose too much to these mutalisks. These mutalisks are just continuously being pesky and annoying, and yeah, I think BYUN might want to just go for an all-out counterattack, because these mutalisks, I think they're just gonna keep flying away, keep dodging away, and you don't want to give a lot of time for DRG to kind of recoup and regain or make up a lot of army supply. So here we go. DRG gonna keep rolling in those banelings. That is a lot of banelings, a total of 30 on the field. BYUN's gonna go ahead and micro nicely and save the majority of those marines. But these medevacs are quite low in energy health, so he's got to be careful not to overextend. Ooh, nice pick off here by DRG. Takes out a command center. And I am not sure who is winning this game, but it is a pretty crazy game, similar to game number 1.
Yeah, I think we are winning in this game, guys, for this amazing StarCraft that we're seeing. And now, oh, really nice pick up there with the Thor trying to save it from the forces of DRG. And now it's BYUN who is slightly supply blocked here. This is not good for the Terran. I mean, it's not like you pop in 4 units and you're good to go. You actually have to rebuild those. So that's going to be taking a little bit of time there. BYUN just still supply blocked. Having to deal with this flock of mutants has been probably the hardest thing that has had to do this entire game, but he is prepared for a counterattack. So as soon as he feels safe enough to actually move ahead and cross the map again, he will definitely do it. And it's right now that he's finding the right time there. We have 131 army supply against 93, so definitely BYUN here with the army advantage. And this could be devastating for DRG if he doesn't deal with this right. There's a lot of Widow Mines here with the army, and there's also quite a decent amount of Marauders that have done wonders dealing with the Banelings. So I mean, whatever engagement we have next will be probably, if not the final one, extremely key to keep in this game.
Yeah, I think it's really going to come down to the engagement. These infantry, this battle ball is on 3 degree upgrades versus the 2-2 of DRG, so DRG is going to definitely need to rely on some really great baneling connections in order for him to kind of defend. But in the meantime, it looks like he's just going to keep the Terran busy with these immediatalists, continuously, just flying around, trying to get as much damage as he can. But there is a small little, I guess, medevac drop here on the south side. I think BYUN kind of forgot about it. It's been kind of parked there for quite some time.
Yeah, I think it might have probably slipped his mind that it was still there. And I mean, these mutas have done just so much damage to the Terran. A lot of the Terran infrastructure is basically in the state that it is because of these mutas. So yeah, definitely a good switch up there from DRG, just betting on the mobility of the mutas to do exactly this, just interrupting so much mining time, and especially keeping BYUN in his base, which has not allowed him to cross the map. And I mean, there's 20 banelings on the way. I mean, that should probably tell you something about how hard the Zerg is macroing right now. And there we go. This is going to be a really big engagement here, guys.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the last huge big engagement, as there is just no turning back. BYUN is just way too down in the worker supply, the worker count. And so right now, this is his one chance, as he does got the army supply advantage, and he wants to end the game right here, right now.
Just managing really nice Widow Mine connections. He's gonna try it again, and there we go. The connections are really nice. There's a lot of mutalisks still. There are no more Thors, but there's still quite a bit of Widow Mine power there to deal with. And once again, the banelings rolling forward and just connecting with a lot of bio at that point. But still, BYUN continues to reinforce this position, just holding on, trying to get that base, trying to get as many units as possible. But there's just a lot of Zerg rolling in, and once again, look at that micro. That target fire is absolutely out of this world. Once again, trying to roll forward, but BYUN just holding this position with the sheer force of bio.
Oh my goodness, only BYUN right here can micro this insanely. And right now, I mean, I think DRG might be looking for, he might just want to go ahead and just
sack this base, get enough bane. Oh man, that Widow Mine got some a really big connection on that Widow Mine ball, and now BYUN is pushing further and further forward ahead, but he's got to be careful because those medevacs are pretty much done for as in terms of energy. These bio units are getting low in light. They're pretty much in red orange life here, and yeah, I think he might just overstimmed there.
Yeah, for sure. Now he's gonna probably try to rely on the Widow Mines, but there is an Overseer here, which will help with the cleanup. But BYUN, I mean, buying himself at least enough time to get a couple of command centers up and try to float them out to different locations. But I mean, DRG still has his mutas. He's still pretty much mobile around the map. And I mean, this counterattack could be probably the one that seals the deal. There's a lot of workers here exposed. But BYUN reacting really nicely there with the Marines, and just DRG not overcommitting to anything, not trying to, just trying to keep himself from being, from finding himself overextended, which definitely wouldn't be a convenient position. But I think if he continues to pressure BYUN, he might be in a really good spot here. But there's a lot of commands here being flown out here by the Terran. So yeah, just BYUN trying to prepare his own comeback, which that's kind of crazy in this game.
Yeah, the crazier thing is that he has so much Widow Mines here in the command center, down in this middle base. Imagine if the Mutalisks actually fly over there. That would be such a great pickoff. Although it might actually do some splash damage on his SCV line, so maybe not the greatest idea. Who knows? But anyhow, it looks like the Mutalisks are going to go ahead and fly into the main base, get on top of the production, cleaning out a lot of these Marines that are just popping out. And DRG just kind of keeping BYUN busy for the time being, as he is kind of reaping the economic benefits of having 71 workers to the 33 of BYUN.
Yeah, definitely with an econ advantage here for the Zerg. And once again, trying to fly in, getting that production, but just BYUN not allowing that to happen. Once again, the Terran's going to try to push this location here with a little bit of an awkward... Ooh! Once again, oh my god, the Widow Mines here. Just those connections, just not allowing DRG to engage this, and there we go. I mean, BYUN just running out of steam.
Yeah, he was just way behind there in the income, and yeah, that was really well done there by DRG. It looked really scary at one point, but he manages to tough it out, and he will keep his tournament's hopes alive, as the score is now 2-1, still in favor of BYUN, but at the very least, DRG does get his first point on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean, he's not gonna allow BYUN to go unscathed towards the finals. But yeah, I mean, I did see BYUN probably slow down a little bit in that game. I think he wasn't as aggressive as he was in the first two games, just getting bases up. And yeah, I think DRG actually noticed, like, hey, why am I not as mobile as I should be as a Zerg? And I mean, if you can't get your creep spread out on the map, you kind of have to find another way to do it. And definitely, the mutas were the right call for sure.
Yeah, and that game really went long. So I think as the game goes long, it actually hurts BYUN just because of that wrist injury that he has. So if he can kind of if DRG can kind of prolong the game and have that advantage of the wrist injury from of BYUN, then he should be doing okay. Now the first game did go long, but that was just the first game. BYUN didn't really play that much. But now as we head into a game number 4 here, let me go ahead and update the score just quickly to 1-2. But as I said, as DRG gets into game number 4 and 5, potentially, he might just want to go ahead and just play a lot of macro games.
Yeah, I think that would be the right call. Anyway, guys, here we have it, spawning in the bottom left-hand side of the map. He is the Red Terran BYUN.
And spawning here at the top right, he's the blue Zerg, currently teamless. Hopefully that changes soon. Give it up for BYUN. Or not BYUN, DRG. Sorry.
Yeah, I think the longer this goes, the more difficult it's going to be for BYUN to hold on to that advantage. And I mean, that game was long. That game was demanding. It definitely put a lot of pressure on BYUN to try to make something happen, especially in the last 5 minutes of the game. I think he was just trying really hard to make it happen for himself, but it just didn't work out at the end. So definitely a rough game to play, game number 4, but I do want to believe that BYUN can still make it, but I don't know. I think it was I don't know if it was Aces ROG or a different tournament, but he has like lost 3 games in a row after having like wrist problems, if I recall correctly. So I think that's definitely possible once again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as great as BYUN is, sometimes injury just kind of hurts one's play, so you can't really deny it. It's the nature of life, and BYUN is going to have to pull through here. But at the same time, maybe like if DRG manages to push it to a game number 5, maybe we get ourselves a classic BYUN proxy Reaper rush. I mean, only one can hope, but anyway, here we go. First Reaper will be going and make his way into the natural. Almost get that drone, but not quite there, as DRG did some really nice micro there to save that drone. Oh. Just barely makes it out alive.
Yeah, very persistent there with the Reaper Scout. And he's actually going to spot the timing for that third base, even being a little bit standoffish against that queen. But overall, just the opening, we're going to see once again a 1-1-1 from BYUN, just going for that starport. And we'll see. I mean, those Banshee pushes with Hellbats have been definitely strong for BYUN. I think he kind of like thrives in creating these really high pressure scenarios for his opponent. So I think we're going to see something similar to that. He's actually clearing out the tech lab, possibly to do a swap there with the starport. So already BYUN gearing up for something aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, the other game where he did go for Banshee opening, it worked out really, really well for him. He got 20 drone kills in the beginning. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get the same amount of drone kills. That'll be like Christmas coming early, but I mean, one can only hope, fingers crossed. At the very least, he should be able to find some amount of damage, and hopefully it goes into BYUN's favor. In the meantime, he's going to go ahead and poke out with these initial Hellions and the Reaper to clear up any creep tumors. Potentially, he might be able to kind of add in the armory behind this and then go for a Hellbat Banshee push like he did before. So we should have our eyes out to be on the lookout for that armory to see if that's the case.
And one more time, you're seeing a layer from DRG, so there is going to be some layer tech as well accompanying the Zerg's game at this point. I think layer tech has worked for him fairly early in the game, and he's probably anticipating some aggressive moves from BYUN. He did spot that Banshee earlier, so we will have some Spore Crawlers already set up for the bases. So right now, DRG looking way more prepared than he did the first time that he faced this. So this is definitely going to help the Zerg at least gain some footing here, protect the bases, which are really crucial at this point. He's actually done really nice coverage as well in the third base location with the Queens. So right now, if things looking bright for DRG, I think he's got potential to set himself up for a really nice position.
Yeah, if you don't really do a lot of economic damage in the early game against Zerg, I mean, their economy just goes a bit too really crazy from that point on. So it gets really hard to go transition into the mid to late game as well. So definitely want to at least find some sort of damage from these Hellions and maybe potentially the Banshee right there.
Now we see BYUN actually transitioning out from this. He's adding 2 extra barracks here on 2 bases. So possibly looking for sort of kind of, it could be a 2-base all-in or just like pseudo all-in and transition out into a third base. because I think he's finding that he's not being able to do as much damage as he did in the previous games with these run-bys and with the Banshees. So I think he needs to add firepower to that composition. He's definitely figuring that out. Just trying to poke here with the Hellions, but once again, the Queen's just making it so difficult with really nice placement there. And he's DRG is actually going to go and take a fourth base. I think he has enough to actually secure this, and just dropping all the creep tubers that you could possibly drop at once, probably. And yeah, the Spire's about to complete, so that's also going to be a pretty sweet transition for the Zerg as well. So yeah, we're probably going to see a game very similar to what we saw in game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, the difference, in the game on Romanticide, the Mutalisk was on their way out right when BYUN was going for an attack, but this time around, because he didn't lose, that much, basically any drones to those to that Banshee as well as the Hellions, he should be able to kind of make that transition to the Mutalisk a bit more easier. He is making those Lings and those Banelings just to make sure that he is safe from any attack. Now, I don't think he's got... Yeah, he doesn't have centrifugal hooks on the way, so he's going to be stuck on slow Banelings for the meantime, but he does have a lot of Queens to help tank.
Yeah, really nice around there. We're going to force a pickup. And we actually do have a counterattack attempt in third base. But right now being fended off by BYUN, who now sees the Mutalisk. He knows exactly what's his facing. And, I mean, the game plan here is probably try to go do some damage on the other side of the map. And maybe, like, really try to capitalize on that. Because the problem was that in the previous game, he wasn't able to do that much damage. And he was at the mercy, or no mercy, of the Mutalisks. So we'll have to see if this time this push is actually managing to be more effective. There is static defense on the mineral line, so there is defense potential there for the bases. But we'll see. I mean, this push has to work. It's pretty committed, and there's a lot of BYUN's army here.
All right, slow Banelings are rolling in here. Let's see how many they can get. There's some decent, okay connections, but he does end up losing that hatchery. And now that's all that's left over is really the Mutalisk. And oh no, he is facing up against Marines versus the Mutalisk. That is never a great scenario. And BYUN with a strong timing push will be able to take that decisive third win and will move to the finals.
Okay, BYUN.